Political parties are now coming up and, you know, marshalling up their people. Maybe you just take guys through, those who are still getting ready to go and vote. Some of us have not done it yet. Just a quick run through of what to expect when you get there, so as to take the shortest time possible.
First of all, as I confirmed, I've voted already, and I want to urge everybody out there who has not voted to actually take that step. This is a very historic elections.
Yes.
Now, the process is very simple and very efficient, save, of course, for areas that have witnessed these problems with the machines. And now, if you go to the polling station, contrary to what many people think, that because we are voting for 6 elective offices, the process will take 20 minutes. Far from it. It's actually take less than 10 minutes. It took me about 6 minutes to pass through the process. Now, of course, there is a queue, which I want to believe was very big in the morning, but now it's probably going down as we approach the closing of the poll. Now, when you reach the polling station itself, the room where people actually vote, the first step, of course, is the verification of your particulars, and in this case, your identity card. Whether you have a valid identity card, if that is what you use to register, or if you registered with a passport, whether you have an original passport or ID. And then, of course, the verification process begins, where as they look at your ID, they also ask to press your thumb in the verification machine. And at the same time, there is an IEBC clerk that then, once the machine has confirmed that you are a registered voter in that particular polling station, proceeds to check in the manual register with a view to marking out your name in that particular register that you have voted. Then, of course, the second process is the officials who are issuing ballot papers. There is the presidential, the National Assembly, the Senate, Governor, Women Rep, and County Assembly. What happened is actually, and I think as a strategy of minimizing time, that a clerk issues you with the 2 ballots, and then another one 3 ballot papers. And then you proceed to the polling booth, where you mark the ballot papers, and then the ballot boxes are arranged in lines. And one thing that the IBC has done is that they arrange the papers, taken a particular color, and the ballot boxes correspond with the colors that are on the ballot papers. So then you begin the process of marking, and then, of course, there is you then have your finger, the small finger, dipped in the indelible ink, and you're home and dry.
This they had said that by the time, if you are in the queues, by the closing time, which is about, I think, 5 p.m., you still be allowed to vote, but whoever comes after that will not be allowed to vote. But yet again, we're seeing all these flows that are going on. We're seeing all the problems that are coming up. Do you see a possibility where time will be extended?
Well, that is one thing that the IEBC has committed itself to, that those who will be in the queue by 5 o'clock, when the polling stations will be closing, will proceed to vote, and the IEBC will have an official in the line, whereby the last person in the queue will be the IEBC official. So if you're in the queue by 5 p.m., you will then be allowed to vote. Now, in polling stations that have witnessed technical hitches and delays, the IEBC has also similarly taken a commitment that they will extend the voting time to compensate for the number of time or the minutes, or if it was 1 hour or 2 hours, that was lost when they were trying to rectify and fix the technical hitches with the verification machine. So that is illegal, and that is exactly how it's supposed to
so
be.
It is very legal, and it should be done in that way. Well, thank you very much. Really do appreciate. Thank you for being with us on Citizen TV as we bring the Ballot 2013. Indeed, we've been talking to Felix Odhiambo Owuor. Felix Odhiambo Owuor is a country director, Electoral Institute of the Sustainability of Democracy in Africa, just taking us through some of the things that you as a voter, what you should expect and what you should go through even as you go to cast your ballot. Right now, from the Analysis Center, I want to take you back to a new studio where Johnson Mwakazi is on standby.
All right, many thanks indeed for Keeping it Citizen Television, Michael Njenga, thank you so much for that analysis. Of course, we're still on. I'll be taking you for the next 2 hours. I've already voted. Now, if you've not, you have about 3 hours to go. Now, you need to find yourself on the queue at 5 p.m. because if you're not there, then it means your vote is done. You've missed out on your constitutional right to elect your president, your governor, your senator, your women representative, your county assembly ward representative. And you don't want to miss out on that. Of course, here on Citizen Television, we'll be giving you what is happening on the ground. We're talking about 33,000 polling stations across the country. And of course, we have our reporters on the ground. So that's happening here on Citizen Television. Right now, we're going very quickly to Nyeri County, where our reporter Waihiga Mwaura is on standby. Waihiga Mwaura, good afternoon. We have just about 3 hours to go. What's the situation on the ground?
Right, good afternoon, Mwakazi, and good to see you, of course. We are here at the Nyeri Technical Training Institute. This is in Nyeri constituency, Nyeri Town constituency in Nyeri County. And with about 3 hours to go, I can say that the situation here is basically manageable. And just to give you some of the statistics, so far 390 voters have voted here. They're expecting another 415, which is a bit tight, of course, to come through here. The good news is, though, the BVR kit has worked pretty well for everyone. We haven't had any situation where nobody was in that kit or in the registry, as we are hearing in other counties. So far, everyone has been processed here well, and this is because they are saying the electricity connection is pretty stable. They did not have to rely on generators or anything of the sort. As I mentioned, the queues here, just by taking a look, are manageable, even though some are complaining that they've been on the queue a bit longer than they would have wanted to. That's 15 minutes. And just that you can hear it from the horse's mouth, I'm joined by some of the voters who've just gone through that process. If I can call Mr. Kiran just to come and join me, he can tell you he's just gone through this voting process and he can give us more details regarding what took place. Maybe you can begin by introducing yourself to us, sir.
My name is Kiran. I'm the director for Highland Mineral Water in Nyeri. I've been exercising this election not for the first time. It's very manageable. People are very happy. Also, it's a bit slow, but we are trying to act our democratic right. And I think so. Our business community, Asian especially, are very happy. They were here in the morning at 6:30, and most of them have voted and already have left.
Wow. Maybe if I could ask you, many had planned to come here very early and leave. Was that also the same idea for you? And even having come in the afternoon, have you found the process as smooth as you would have wanted?
Yes, the process is smooth. I didn't deliberately come early morning because I know I will come at around midday, and I'll exercise my rights. Thank you.
Right. And in regard to that, what were your expectations in there? Having looked at the new process, instead of 3 positions, you're voting for 6 and so forth. Was it smooth?
It's smooth, and I think it's very well executed, and the IBC has done a very well job. And I think we are going to this new transaction, and I think it's the first time people will learn, and I think we are moving ahead.
Finally, something that we're asking all the voters that are coming live on Citizen to say, a message out there to all Kenyans, of course, representing the business community in Nyeri County. What would you say to those who are watching you, both from Nyeri County and across the country?
We have seen a very peaceful transaction, where people have been very, very helpful. We've been also done a lot of civic education before, and I think people have been very calm and very happy, and they want to see that there's a peace as we go on voting, and even after that.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kiran. Speaking about the process here, and for him, calm is the way to describe what the situation has been, how the mood has been like. I'm also joined by a young lady here, and the first thing I want to confirm is, have you managed to vote yet?
I've voted.
Let me see your finger. Okay, good. You've confirmed that. And how was it? How was the whole process for you? If you can face that camera.
It was fast and a little bit tiring. I came here at 8 and I voted at around 2, so it's kind of slow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And do you feel that the 6 extra positions, the 3 extra positions, usually you would have voted for 3 elective posts, now you're going for 6. Did that make it even more complicated for you?
I'm a first-time voter, so I didn't find any difference for it. It's okay. It's okay.
Okay, and what are you doing after this? Many were asked to leave the premises after that. Are you going to hang around, or what are you going to do after this?
I'm going home to follow up on, the counting and all.
Thank you very much, Asante Sana. So, of course, what you're hearing here is generally positive remarks regarding the voting process here in Nyeri County, and not much of what you're hearing across in other counties. Missing names, power going out, cases of violence. We have none of that here from what we've heard. We've spoken to some of the aspirants, and they also are pretty satisfied. In fact, earlier on, we were able to speak to some of the aspirants in Othaya constituency. We do have a clip of what they had to say as they went to vote. I believe we can actually run that clip right now. One of Othaya Development Association Chairman Mugambi Gishuki, and another of GNU candidate also for the Othaya MP seat, Peter Kingara.
Na hakika kwamba nitashida, manake hawa watu naona wa Othaya wamesoea mbunge naelewa kazi, wamesoea mjumbe ambao wana maarifa, wamesoea mbunge ambao amesoma, wamesoea mbunge ambao ana maono, na mimi ndio huyo mbunge. Rais tangu awe rais hangeweza kufanyia watu wa Othaya kazi yao ya mjumbe, manake amekuwa akiangalia nchi yote, na kwa hivyo kazi ya hapa Othaya aliiashia kikundi kinachoitwa Othaya Development Association, ambao mimi ndio nimekuwa mwenyekiti. Kwa hivyo nimefanya kazi na yeye na anaelewa mimi naweza hiyo kazi. Manake kupitia hayo mabarabara tumeleta, kupitia hayo masomo tumeangalia, kupitia hayo stima tumeleta, basi anajua naweza kazi.
To my supporters, let's be ready to celebrate either today or tomorrow morning. There's no other result that will come out of this when it comes to the MP.
Indeed, Mwakazi, that is the situation on the ground. And if you were watching us earlier, of course, Citizen TV was live when President Mwai Kibaki went to vote at the Munaine Primary School, that is in Othaya constituency. And he had a very smooth voting process, was in and out in about 10 minutes, and was able to exercise his democratic right. And so have most of the candidates here. We were also able to have a word with Othaya businesswoman Mary Wamboi, who also expressed confidence in the process here. She said so far her agents have given her positive feedback regarding what is happening all around, and she believes that she has God on her side. We'll continue monitoring the situation here. A little over or a little under 3 hours to go before the polling stations close. Of course, those who are still on the queue then will be allowed to vote. We'll be monitoring the situation here, but from Nyeri, it does look positive, and I do firmly believe that they'll have managed to process most of the voters by the time the deadline elapses. That's at about 5 p.m. But for now, back to you, Mwakazi, in studio.
Right, many thanks indeed, Waiga Maura, reporting all the way from Nyeri County. Of course, some of the candidates have already cast their votes, and you can remember even President Mwai Kibaki already cast his vote earlier on. Right now, very quickly, let's move on to Kisumu County, commonly known as Kisumu City. And our very own Willis Fraburu is on standby. Of course, we can see the voter turnout there is amazing. But tell us what is exactly happening, especially behind the curtains?
Very good afternoon to you, Mwakazi, from Kisumu County, or as you've put it there, popularly known as Kisumu City. Here we are still at the Jomo Kenyatta Sports Grounds. This is the polling station that has 9 streams. Earlier, we had spoken to the presiding officer who said that by around noon, they expect the voter turnout to be at around 60 to 80%. And Mwakazi, if you can see probably around me, what we can see is that we are finally seeing at least the end lines. Early on in the morning, there were long winding queues, and so at least now we can see the end to some of the queues in some of the places. There are about 9 polling stations. Now, earlier we spoke to some of the people. We were spoken to all the people who were able to cast in their ballot, and also I had told you that my colleague Patrick Njendi had gone over to Kobura Primary School to capture one governor aspirant candidate, I beg your pardon, Jack Ranguma, casting his ballot. And these are some of the pictures that we are beginning to show you now. The ODM candidate for governor, he's not alone in governor, he's also a TNA candidate as well, but he will be casting his ballot later on in the day, and we'll be bringing you that as well. But that is the ODM candidate. They're casting his ballot at the Kobura Primary School. Now, also, we were able to talk to him earlier on, and he and his running mate Ruth Odinga were able to just give them messages of peace and views on the voting process, and we are going to be bringing that up sound right now.
The process is fairly smooth. There are no hiccups. It is quick, and I like the fact that they are very useful in helping people who also do not know how to read and write. And the most important thing for me now, also inside, is that the tops of those boxes are fairly close in terms of the color. So the matching is a bit of a problem, but they have a person there to assist those people who would have a problem. So thank the people of Kisumu County. I think they have come out in large numbers to show that to exercise their democratic right, and I have been informed that since morning today, people started queuing at 5 a.m. and that shows that people are enthusiastic about the change that we desire as a country. This is the first election of its kind since 1963, and I think when you see people enthusiastic like this, it means that they also want to be part of the reform that we, particularly in ODM, would like to bring. And particularly me as the potential governor of Kisumu County, who want to bring so that we can create change.
Round, and there's been issues of the machines, the batteries are running out very fast, especially in the rural areas where we don't have electricity or power. And for the moment, that is causing some little bit of problems, especially people whose names are not in the register. If they can't find their names in the computer, then it becomes a problem. But I've been advised that they are trying to get backup as much as possible and make sure that, and some centers like in Kindube and all, and within the county here, they are now trying to make sure that they take them to the centers and have them the power done.
Well, Mwakazi, we have been talking to mostly those candidates, rather the people who have cast the ballot. Those are the people who have not cast the ballot, rather, and they were giving us their views as to how long they've been on the queues. But now let's talk to some who have already cast their ballot, and let's find out their views on the same. Maybe we'll start with you, sir. Tell us, you've cast your ballot. What is your view of the entire voting process?
Thank you very much. The process was very smooth, and the queuing is moving very fast. Things are moving fluently here. Thank you.
Right, thank you very much. And maybe you, sir, your view of the voting process. Did you encounter any challenges, or how was it like for you?
The process is good. Me personally, I came in the morning, 3 a.m., but I managed to vote at 11. So the process is good, and the irregularities we see, there is at certain time, the computers were not working. So they were telling us that the network is network. So we managed to shut down the computers and use the manual books. So it was, as the time we was using the manual books, it was going very fast. That's we say that the process itself is good now.
And it's always important for people just to hear from somebody who's experienced it. Maybe those who have not come out to vote yet, what is your call to them?
I can say, if you have not come to vote, just come. The queue is now people is now going fast. So just come now and vote. And after voting, make sure that we make peace at home, peace everywhere, because even tomorrow, so that the process can be good and every Kenya remain Kenyans.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much, sir, as well. All the well, Mwakazi, as you've heard there, that the rallying call is for you. If you've not come out to vote, this is the Jomo Kenyatta Sports Ground. You can make your way here if you're registered at this place. Remember to carry your identification card. There are all other polling centers also around Kisumu where you can go and remember, you only go and vote where you had registered as a voter. And remember, at the end of the day, we want to maintain peace wherever we are. Now we'll continue to give you up to date in the rest of the polling process. And also, we are also at this moment conducting an interview with Professor Anyang' Nyong'o, who is the candidate for the Kisumu County Senator, and we'll be bringing that to you later on. But from now, from Kisumu County, my name is Willis Raburu, and I hand it over back to you, Mwakazi.
Right, many thanks indeed, Willis Raburu, reporting all the way from Kisumu County. A couple of glitches that have already been reported, but everything is set. IEBC is on top of its game, so no doubt about it. And one thing, if you've not voted, you have about 2 hours, 50 minutes. The polling stations will be closed. Now, this is it. You don't go to the nearest polling station. You go to the polling station where you were registered. So that's very important. And remember to get your original documents. That is your ID if you used it for registration, or your passport. Very important. No photocopies or police abstract accepted. Now, in the meantime, let's move on to other reports here. Brothers Andrew and Julius Sonkuli, who are both contesting for the Narok senatorial seat, cast their votes at the Poroko Primary School earlier today. Julius, the elder of the two, voted at 9 in the morning, 30 minutes after his brother Andrew Sonkuli cast his vote. Andrew said he hoped the hitches being experienced in some of the polling stations within the county would not compromise the process.
Nimekuja hapa na nimepiga kura, na naona kwamba njia ya kupiga kura ni ile ya manual na imekuwa ya haraka, na kama imekubalika naona si vibaya. Na hofu fulani kwa sababu naona uchaguzi unaendelea na tumefanya kampeni zetu vizuri sana. And I'm hoping that technology is not going to sabotage the project. I'm hoping that technology is not going to...
We beg your pardon for that slight technical glitch there, but of course we'll revisit that report later on. In the meantime, Kenya National Congress presidential candidate Peter Kenneth has condemned the attack of 6 police officers that occurred on the eve of today's elections in Mombasa County. Kenneth, who voted half an hour ago at the Kirwara Primary School in Gatanga, sent a message of condolence to the families affected and said the perpetrators should be brought to book. On today's poll, Kenneth lauded Kenyans for turning out in large numbers to vote. All right, so now let's move on to the city in the sun, Nairobi County, where our very own reporter Francis Gashuri is set at Globe Cinema, rather. So what is happening so far? Of course, time's moving. We have 2 hours, 40 minutes remaining.
Thank you very much and good afternoon, Johnson Mokaz. The last time we spoke, I was in a different place, in a different attire. Now I'm in a different place, in a different attire. I was in Gatundu, now I'm in Nairobi County, the city center. And I'm right at Moi Avenue Primary School polling station here in Nairobi County. And when people talk about a huge voter turnout, then what you are just about to see here at Moi Avenue Primary School polling station is exactly the definition of a huge voter turnout. You know, Globe Roundabout is just behind me here. And the queue here, Mokazi, has snaked around Globe Roundabout. And our cameraman, Madenge Goko, has taken a drive shot of Globe Roundabout and the people who are queuing here. They've been here since morning. Luckily, the queues are moving quite fast. But when you look at the number of people who are queuing here at Moi Avenue Primary School, it will tell you, or it will give you an impression of the enthusiasm that many Kenyans have for this electoral process, the huge turnout. It is a very sunny afternoon, a very hot afternoon. But they are all braving the sun here, all intent on exercising their democratic right here. But of course, a bit of complaints here and there that the polling process is moving quite slowly, some of them getting a little fatigued. But quite a number of them that I've been able to speak to, they are saying they are confident and they are still patient and are hoping that they will be able to cast their ballot in time. It's just less than 3 hours to the close of the polling process, but the IEBC officers assuring all the people who will be on the queues that they will still be allowed to vote as long as they are within Moi Avenue Primary School grounds. The question is whether all these people who are queuing outside here around Globe Roundabout will manage to get their way within the precincts of Moi Avenue Primary School by the time the polling station closes. Quite a number of them have been queuing here for a number of hours since morning. Many more have voted and gone home. Luckily, security has been intensified here, Mokazi. So as soon as somebody votes, they don't mill around the polling station, they just go home to leave the people who have not yet voted to also get an opportunity to vote. So basically, what you've seen is just around the polling station, the Moi Avenue polling station. And you can see behind me, there are two queues. The shorter queue on my extreme left is for the people who have just come here. So immediately you get here, you start queuing there. Then you go round Globe Roundabout, and then you join this queue of the people who came a little earlier. So you can imagine if somebody has just come here at Moi Avenue Primary School, they will have to spend here quite a number of hours before they can get that opportunity to cast their ballot. But of course, the IEBC officers assuring them that the process will be even hastened to ensure that the people who are still on the queue will get an opportunity to vote. But basically, let me sample a few views for the people who have been queuing here to just basically tell us what the feeling is and to tell us exactly how they feel it, they feel it, and what probably they would excuse me, Mokazi, probably what they feel and what they would want the IEBC officers to do. On my extreme left now, let's talk to one of the Kenyan musicians who was also queuing and has already managed to cast his ballot. I don't know whether he indeed has. Indeed he has. But basically tell us, how does it feel to queue for long hours here?
The only thing I can say is that we've been burnt by the sun. But because we were patient, we voted. The only problem that I'm seeing is that there are many women who have queued for maybe since 5. Okay, majority have voted, but there are many. You see, there are 2 queues. It's 3 hours to 5 o'clock. So I'm wondering if everybody will vote. And you see that what the IBC is telling us is that the people will be allowed to vote past 5 are the ones who will be inside. But when I look around, all these people cannot fit inside the compound of Moi Avenue Primary. So basically my appeal is to the IBC to revise, because they understand their machines had problems, right? So the time the time that we really wasted, they should revise and probably extend and allow the people who are still outside, because they will not fit inside, to be able to vote past 5.
Yeah. Of course, you can see people are queuing patiently. Maybe speak a message of peace to not only these people who are queuing here, but across the country as this process continues.
Okay, I'm a young person, and I believe through music I have an influence to the young people across the country. My only appeal to them is, let's vote peacefully, let's not fight anybody. The IBC has promised us that they are going to deliver a credible election, so we are believing that we are going to have a credible election. Let's give them a chance. Let's not start complaining now. Let's first of all allow everybody to vote, give them time, and let's see if they can deliver what they promised.
Very well. Thank you very much. That is... It's called ringtone. Allow me to move to the side where the other people are still queuing to basically just sample a few sentiments from the people who are queuing here. Quite a number of them saying they are ready and willing to cast their ballot confidently, so to say. So allow me to just speak to a few people here, Mokazi, before I hand it over to you. Labda tuambie jina lako, uangalie pale upande huu mwingine kidogo. Angalia pale kwa ile kamera, tuambie unajihisi namna gani na ulipanga line kutoka saa ngapi hapa?
Okay, kwa majina naitwa Eric Eliko na nimepanga line kuanzia saa 2 asubuhi hadi saa 4 saa 8:30 saa 9 ndio inaenda. Na bado niko na imani nitavote na nivote kiongozi mwenye nataka. Yeah.
Kuna vijana wengi labda wanasema jua imewachoma sana.
Obvious, juu kiangalia jua yenyewe inamulika watu yenyewe, jua hiko hatuwezi ongea hichomi watu. Watu wanachomeka. Yeah.
Lakini uko ngangari.
Yeah, kabisa. Yeah. Karibu.
Thank you very much. Because very many people here. Let me sample the views of this gentleman. Kindly look at that camera there and tell us what time, how long have you been queuing here, and why are you so confident that you will still manage to vote?
Well, we've been here since 8 o'clock in the morning, so it's around 6 hours we've been queuing. And so we are just hopeful that the process will go on as smoothly as it is now. Yeah. Yeah.
There are many people probably who don't understand exactly what it means to queue around Globe Roundabout. Probably tell them.
Wow. Actually, the whole queue has been so long. Actually, we've gone twice, the Globe Roundabout. That is around the school, 2 times actually. And before that, we were in Koja. Yeah, so the queues are really long, yeah.
But still confident that
we are still confident that you're going to vote peacefully and the process will go on as fine as possible.
Very good.
Yeah.
Asante sana. Very well. Mokazi, just a sample of the views here of the people who are queuing here. They're saying they've been doing it round and round and round twice. And it's no mean task. That shows the dedication that the people of Kenya, and particularly those who have registered in this polling station, have in this electoral process. Saying that not only, even if they will get seriously burned by the sun, they will be able to vote. Let me sample 2 more views, Mokazi, before I give it to you. Allow me now to speak to a lady, and I can see one here, to tell us how it feels to queue here. Habari yako, tuambie, ukiangalia kwa ile kamera pale, utuambie umekuwa ukipiga line kutoka saa ngapi na kama uko tayari kabisa kupiga kura.
Kutoka saa 1. Na nimeshoka, lakini sichoki kwa sababu najua nataka at least tuwe na amani katika nchi yetu. Ndio niko hapa kwa simama, ndio at least I share everything. Yes.
Kuna wale labda hawawezi kuelewa umepiga line kutoka saa ngapi kuzunguka.
Nimetoka hapa, niliingia saa 1 na ndio sasa ndio naenda, niko karibu kuingia. Na nimeshoka, lakini sijashoka juu ninajua matokeo itakuwa mzuri na hakutakuwa na vita, tutakuwa na amani.
Asante sana. Na wacha niongee pia na msichana mmoja kwa hapa. Tell us how does it feel to queue for long, and how confident are you that you're going to manage to participate in this election?
Okay, although it's tiresome, we still have hopes, and we're also patient because we have to make the right decision for the right economy of Kenya actually, and we know we are going to make the right decision this time round, unlike the other time in 2007.
Thank you very much. There you go, Mokazi. Basically, people confident that they are going to participate in this election peacefully and manage to vote. Let me sample one more gentleman here. Look at that camera there and tell us how long have you been queuing here, and what does it feel to queue for such long?
I start like at 8. Yeah.
alafu unasikia aje kupiga line hivyo vyote?
Nimechoka. Then lakini iko poa. Yes.
Kuna mavijana wengi labda wanaweza angalia hii line waseme mazemi sitoboy.
Kuna sioni. Yes.
Kwa sawa lakini. Asante sana. Let me speak to one lady here. Tafadhali angalia kwa ile kamera pale utuambie umepiga line kutoka saa ngapi na kama uko tayari kabisa kupiga kura.
Nimepiga kutoka around 8. Tumetemeka na jua lakini tunavumilia because we need to make a decision. So naendelea tu.
Labda watawaambia aje wale ambao bado wako home wanaona hizi queue wanasema mazee mimi hii line ni mrefu sana mimi siwezi fika hapo.
And ambia wakuja wa vote, line ina move na iko very fast na ni decision kubwa sana kwa Kenya, so they should come and vote.
Asante sana. Thank you very much. Mokazi, some of the sampling a few views here. Basically, Globe roundabout, the traffic jam that you normally see here is now a traffic jam of eager voters, eager Kenyans who are ready to exercise their democratic right, not only for themselves, but also for future generations. This is the first general election under this new constitution, and many want to make sure that they are in the annals of history, that when Kenyans were participating in the first general election under the new constitution, electing a transitional government from the old constitutional order to the new constitutional order, they want to make sure that they are part of that history. So back to you, Mokazi. We will continue moving around here and there to sample the situation as it is, but so far no incidences of electoral irregularities here, no incidences of insecurity. I've seen security officers hovering around, patrolling, both in plain clothes and also in official police wear, just to ensure that anybody intent on causing trouble here will be dealt with. But of course, even for those people who have not managed to participate in this electoral process, Mokazi, all that you need is your original identity card and a valid passport. So please turn out and vote if you have not, because this is a critical decision. Back to you, Mokazi.
Francis Gashuri, many thanks, reporting all the way from Nairobi County. Of course, the clarion call has been vote wisely, widely, and peacefully. Very important indeed. And you see the patience in the people queuing. And somebody once said, it's not, when it comes to patience, it's not so much how long you wait, but how you behave while waiting. So that's very key indeed. Now, let's find out what's happening in Kakamega, Western. And we have our very own reporter, Judy Kosgei, to tell us what is happening. 2 hours, 30 minutes to go. Judy Kosgei, what's the situation on the ground?
Under the scorching sun and the wait continues for a majority of voters here in Kakamega County. Voters have been lining up since 5 a.m., 4 a.m., and they're waiting for their turn to come for them to vote. In the over 1,100 polling stations here in Kakamega County, and the queues are still very long, moving at snail speed, and they are hoping that by 5 p.m. they will be able voting for, like from the county rep to the president. Those are 6 seats. And it's taking quite some time because most people here, some of them are illiterate, for some of them it's new and they didn't participate in the mock elections. But in Vihiga County, the situation is very different. There you get that polling stations, there are very few people queuing, because this maybe is because of the number, in fact because of the number of voters who registered for the election, because in Vihiga County we have slightly over 200,000 voters, but here in Kakamega County over 500,000 voters. So the long queues were expected, and the Independent Electoral Commission boss here is saying if anyone will, by 5 p.m., if they will not have voted and they are in the polling station, they will not be sent away, they'll be allowed to vote, and the voting time will be extended, and in case of technical problems, that time will be covered full. Now, there are no incidents that have been reported, no major incidents here, but there is one in Shinyalu where a vehicle belonging to an aspirant, just as Kizito, was burnt last night. Apart from that, it's just a few things here and there whereby people are queuing the pregnant women, you know, people asking those on the queue to allow pregnant women probably and the sick to vote first. But for some people, they're saying we were here early, they should queue like everyone else.
It's not good. No. Can she not believe?
We will be keeping you updated, of course, from here in Kakamega County and Vihiga County. You saw earlier that Amani presidential candidate Musalia Mudavadi voted in Moses Mudavadi Primary School in Sabate constituency, Vihiga County. All those and everything else, we'll be keeping you updated. Keep it here.
Many thanks indeed, Judy Koskei, reporting all the way from Kakamega. Just a few isolated cases there, but all is well. Remember, if you are on the queue, by 5 p.m. you will still be allowed to cast your ballot. But after that, forget it. Now, Transport Minister Amos Kimunya has lauded Kenyans for turning out in the thousands to vote. Kimunya, who cast his vote at the Kipipiri Primary School at about 1 p.m., joined hundreds of voters and expressed confidence of retaining his parliamentary seat, which he has held for close to a decade. Kimunya appealed to his rivals to accept the results once the results are announced.
Today, I'm very happy. It's 12 o'clock, and at this polling station where I vote, already 70% of the people have turned up and voted. And hence, it shows that people came out quite early. Everything is working well. You can see there isn't a big queue, and the system is flowing quite easy. So I want to congratulate IEBC for the arrangements they made. I've not had a single complaint except 1 or 2 failures of on the equipment, but I believe they are addressing that.
All right, of course, well done if you have already voted. And please make sure you're not around that same polling station. Kindly go home and give the others a chance to also take care of their constitutional right in terms of voting. Now, let's move on to Mlolongo, where Alex Chamwada, our very own, is set to give us the latest from the ground. Alex Chamwada. Alex Chamwada.
This is Mlolongo Primary School, where there was confusion in the morning when the identification machines failed to work. But now, as you can see in the background, the queues are now manageable. This is after officials from the IEBC headquarters were called to come and help rectify the situation. There were instances where voters were complaining that they are missing in the voters register, that the machines couldn't identify them, or their details were unavailable on the identification machines. And here I have the returning officer for Mavoko constituency, Faith Mugo, to explain to us exactly what happened. Let's begin with the situation in the morning. What was the problem?
Well, we opened the station as usual at 6 o'clock, but there was such a big surge of people. I think Kenyans are very excited about this election. So we found a very big crowd here. So the biggest problem we had was really to try to control them to be in line, and so that our officers can be able to set station. Otherwise, the situation is now in control. I really hail Kenyans. There are many here. We have a big population here, but they are really prepared to line up until each of them is able to vote for their candidate.
But the identification machines were not working, and you had to resort to the manual register.
Yes, it happened, but it was only one part of the machine, which was the poll book. That was the one that had an issue, and we are still trying to resolve that. Otherwise, the EVID, the computer one, is still working. It's still effective. So it's only in a few stations that we are having those issues, where we have now gone back into the poll register.
Now, Faith, how about those whose names are missing? What are you going to do about it?
Well, if that person registered, definitely they are going to vote, because we have an appendix where we have put names of anybody who, in case maybe a machine failed while they were being registered, we have them there. Again, we have a fallback of the green book where the voter wrote their name and signed. So there is no way how anybody is not going to vote if they registered.
But they may not have gotten that information, because I understand some have walked away because their names were missing. How is that information going to reach them? There was a communication problem there, maybe?
Yes, I think there was in maybe a very few stations, but we have been able to rectify that. Now, in that book, we had the phone numbers of anybody who registered, so we have been able to call back the ones who walked away. And we are also saying, if anybody is out there hearing us, seeing what we are doing here, please come back if there was a misunderstanding and you are chased away. Otherwise, you should not have been. You have a right as a Kenyan to vote. This is your right.
Your assurance that as long as you registered somewhere, your name missing in the identification machine here is not the end of the road.
Exactly, Chamada, exactly. If you registered, then you are in our register, the poll register, and you are again in our green book. So there is no way how you would miss. Kenyans, just come and vote. Vote for your candidate and let us make democracy our rule.
I can see the queues are now manageable. Do you expect the exercise to end at 5, or you'll have to extend the voting hours?
I believe you are going to extend voting hours, taking into consideration how much each one is taking to vote, but we have assured them that so long as you are in the queue, so long as you are inside the gate of our polling station, even if it went on up to midnight, you will vote. We shall be here for you.
You are the returning officer of Mavoko constituency. How widespread was this problem? One, the machines failing to work, the delays, and the second problem, names missing.
Well, it was scanty. It was not really that rule everywhere. It was only, and especially like here where we have such a big population. I think, one would expect where we have such a large population, a few hitches would be. Otherwise, we have some places where we have not had any complaints. People are voting very well and they are very happy.
Okay, thank you, Faith. I will have to leave you to continue with your job. Thank you for speaking to Citizen TV. That was Faith Mugo, the returning officer of Mavoko constituency. She's been here since in the morning trying to find solution to the problems that arose in the morning. As she said there, if your name was missing in the identification machine, that is not the end of the road. You can still vote, that there is a fallback solutions. There is the green book, what is called the green book, and the appendix where you signed when you registered as a voter. So her message is, if you've not voted because your name was missing, you better come back and vote here at the Mulolongo Primary School. Let me just give you a view of the queues again. They are quite manageable. This place was chaotic in the morning, quite crowded. But the good thing is that the voters who had come here were patient enough to try and listen to the IEBC officials to hear what solution the IEBC officials had regarding the delays. And one of the problems, as the returning officer said, it was because of congestion that this is one of the biggest polling stations in Mavoko. Here, there are 22,000 registered voters, and the streams are 23. So you have about 1,000 registered voters queuing per stream. And as I speak, there was a group of IT officials who came in to try and rectify the technical hitches that had occurred in the morning. That is it from me, from Mulolongo Primary School, and back to you, to Makazi in the studio.
Well, many thanks indeed, Alex Chamwada, reporting all the way from Mlolongo. The clock is ticking. 2 hours, 20 minutes. As far as Mlolongo is concerned, there were two main things that happened, of course, in terms of glitches. The first one was basically there was a failure of machines there, and there were voters who claimed that their names were not in the registry. All that has been sorted out. So if you were meant to vote in Mlolongo, kindly go back. If you perhaps went home and said, you know what, that's it for me, no, that's not the end of the road. You can actually go back and exercise your constitutional right. Now, in the meantime, let's catch up with other stories from across the country. James Orengo cast his vote at around midday at Urenga Primary School in Ugunja. Orengo complained of the logistical challenges experienced at most polling stations, but urged Kenyans to remain patient and exercise their democratic right.
First of all, we went for this to win. So from the reports I've had, from not just within the county, but from all over the country, we got every hope, trust and confidence that ODM is going to win not only the presidential elections, but also, you know, the generality of seats all over the country, the majority of seats in parliament, and a majority of governors all over the country, and the highest number of women representatives and county representatives. I think there have been some hitches here and there, but I hope that the Electoral Commission, the Electoral and Boundaries Commission is going to be able to resolve, particularly failure of the BVR equipment in some areas.
All right, let's now move on to Mombasa County. And we're joined now by our very own Esther Kahumbi. Now, Mombasa, of course, stands out, and there's a great deal of concern. How are things happening? Because earlier on, we received reports of, you know, all these incidences coming in. What's the situation like on the ground so far?
Well, Mwakazi, there have been security issues since morning. It caused a lot of delay for the vote to start here in Mombasa. But by around 11, most of the stations had started voting, apart from areas like Miritini, where we experienced a bit of a delay, and people a bit of unrest from people there wondering what was going on. Right now, I'm in Mwembe Tayari, the PhD polling center. It is in Mvita constituency. It's one of those constituencies where we are seeing queues that are moving. Other constituencies like Kisauni and Changamwe, we've seen very long queues, winding queues, that people queuing from 4 a.m. and most of them only got to vote as from 9 a.m. What we are seeing in Mombasa now, there's relative calm. We've seen police officers patrolling the streets. Police are assuring residents that despite the incidences of last night, they are going to be secure even as they cast their vote. The unrest right now is just the slow pace of voting, people taking so long to vote. This is one of the polling centers, like I mentioned, where voting is going on smoothly. The numbers are reducing as the day progresses. I will speak to a few people here just to tell me how the voting process is going on. Habari yako kaka?
Nzuri.
Niambie jina lako.
Jina langu naitwa Morris.
Hii kura unaona imeendeshwa vipi?
Hii kura inaendelea vizuri. Shughuli inaendelea kwa utaratibu. Hata tunashukuru, pia hakuna fujo. Ni amani tu.
Kuna vituo vingine tumeona wakichelewa kuanza kupiga kura. Hapa ilikuwa vipi?
Hapa ilifunguliwa na mapema. Hakuwa na shida yote. Lakini watu walikuwa ni wengi na inaendelea. Mpaka sasa hivi unaona inaendelea kwa amani.
Nizungumze na mwingine hapa, nielezee jina lako kaka.
Victor. Nimekuja kupiga kura.
Unajihisi vipi sasa umeweza kutekeleza haki yako ya kikatiba kupiga kura?
Na hizi fact nashukuru IBC sana. Nimepata uwezo nitapiga kura, na pia nashukuru laini zinaenda haraka na tutapiga kura haraka, na tashukuru kiongozi wetu atapatikana.
Kuna maeneo mengine tumeona watu wakichelewa kupiga kura kufikia hata mwendo wa saa 5. Hapa wewe umesubiri hadi saa ngapi ili kufikia hapa?
Nimekuja saa 8, lakini kwa hapa sasa nimekaa dakika 30. Lakini wasaidizi wanaenda haraka, so hata tunaona nimefika, tutamaliza mapema. Hapa kuko sawa.
Nashukuru. As you can see, Mwakazi, the queues are moving. It's not like where we were earlier on in the day, Kisauni, Ziwa la Ng'ombe. There's also Kisauni Baptist School where the queues were really, really long. People getting agitated, standing in the scorching sun. But most of them really sure that they will not leave until they cast their vote. Let's move on here. We speak to some of these others that are queuing here just to tell me the experiences. Ndugu, nizungumze na wewe. Habari yako?
Salama sana.
Umesimama hapa kwa muda gani? Kura unaona ikiendeshwa vipi?
Mimi nilikuja asubuhi nikakuta line ilikuwa kubwa, lakini sasa niona line imepungua na watu wameenda vizuri. Sasa ndio nimepanga line pale. Yeah.
Kuna maeneo mengine tunasikia kidogo wamechelewa, pengine kwa sababu za kiusalama. Wewe unaona vipi hapa Mombasa?
Matatizo za zingine mpaka sitokee. Unajua kama vile tunasikia wengine wametoka huko wamelete funjo, wengine hawaelewi nini kinaendelea. Sasa mpaka matatizo mengine mpaka yanatokea.
Una imani kwamba kura hii inaendeshwa vizuri?
Na imani sasa naona mambo yanaenda vizuri. Kwa hivyo naona mipangilio si mbaya kwa sababu watu wana nafasi sasa kuja. Kuna watu wanasimama huku kupiga makelele, kuna ni kila mtu anapiga na kwenda zake. Naona mipangilio si mbaya. Yeah.
Sana kaka. Just some of the opinions from those who've turned out to vote. Remember, Mwakazi, Mombasa has about 412,000 registered voters. There are a few polling stations that have really large number of people who are registered in such polling stations, and those are the ones I mentioned: Ziwa la Ng'ombe, Kisauni Baptist Church, Bomu in Changamwe. Those are the ones that are experiencing really, really long queues. We also did visit some of the polling stations where some of the aspirants here in Mombasa County voted. For example, Ali Hassan Joho, Suleiman Shabal, Hassan Omar. We're going to run those clips of them voting for now. Yeah, Mwakazi, this is just some of the candidates who voted earlier on, the candidates for the governor's position, the senator's position. Back here to the polling station, you can see this, the process is moving smoothly. And because of the complexity of this vote, they have an official standing by just to help anyone who may get confused with the color codes and everything. So just to ensure that they cast their ballot as they should. Another issue that is emerging here in Mombasa is that we've had reports in some polling centers, for example in Changamwe, people who did verify that they had registered as voters, but when they went to the queues today, their names are not on the register and they have been turned away. A few polling centers in Changamwe as well as Kisauni, they have not yet been told what exactly is going to happen, but really they have not been allowed as well to vote. The other issue is the issue of the BVR machine, where it's not working in some streams or some polling centers, and so they have had to resort to the manual register, which is what they're using. Now, Mwakazi, you remember we have Mombasa covered. We have Evelyn Wamboi, we have Jackie Maribe. They have been on a tour. They have been around Mombasa County, the issue of insecurity, where police officers were killed today morning, and they will bring us a detailed report as they found in Changamwe.
Many thanks indeed, Esther Kahumbi there reporting all the way from Mombasa. Of course, I beg your pardon, there's another
killing of the Changamwe OCPD, the tragic killing of also the OCS Changamwe and 4 other security officers while in the line of duty. And the business continues here, but of course you can get the overall sense of a loss in as much as everything seems like it's going on seamlessly. Of course, we cannot be able to get someone who can officially comment. The officials, the security officers who sadly have passed away would have been the people to tell us the situation on the ground. But of course, the people who are talking to us off camera are telling us that despite the loss, the operations are going on as usual. They had been told of their deployment plans earlier on, so they're trying to make sure business goes on as usual despite this loss. And of course, as I said earlier, the situation here is somber, but the security officers here are trying as much as possible to ensure that the security situation is not compromised at all. What happened, all the people here are telling us, is that it happened late in the night. The officers came out of this police station and were deployed after they had skirmishes that were going on in the night, and they were killed in the line of duty. So security is in place. As you can see, the pictures even that we have of security officers leaving, continuing to be deployed in the various stations as polling continues. My colleague Jackie Maribe is at the scene where it happened, and we will join her to tell us exactly what happened from the people's perspective, and of course from the officers who we were able to speak to earlier to tell us what exactly happened. Jackie.
Indeed, thank you very much, Evelyn Wamboi. There we are coming to you from Miritini Primary School in Jomvu constituency in the county of Mombasa, and sadly, this is where it all happened. The tragic incidents of yesterday, just before voters woke up to the sad news of police officers killed while in the line of duty just before polling started on this crucial day on Ballot 2013. Now, reports reaching us indicate that there was a gang clad in black and red headbands that was disturbing the peace, a breach of the peace rather, and police officers were alerted at Changamwe police station. They made their way here, and we understand that a confrontation ensued right around 11 p.m. and 2 a.m. this morning, and as a result, the OCS, the OCPD, 4 other security officers lost their lives in the line of duty. We do also understand that some of the suspected members of this gang were also killed in the night incident, and we are getting reports rather that the Inspector General of Police, David Kimayu, has made his way here to Mombasa County, and we will be able, as the day progresses, to give you a security situation, get a statement from him, and just tell you what exactly is happening. Now, we have been able to go around Changamwe and just parts of Mombasa County, and the pictures that you will be seeing now are what exactly is happening, the security situation. there's some relative calm right now, and here where we are in Miritini Primary School, voting is ongoing. However, there are complaints that the process started a bit later than it should have. We sought the views of some of the voters here, what happened, and they say that despite their being here very early in the morning, even in the wake of these night incidents, they do not understand why there was no security personnel in the area like they did expect, and why the voting process started late. Let's just get some of these views right now.
The situation was so much worrying, and it was very much stressing, especially myself. I'm not used. I used to stay in Nairobi sometimes. In Nairobi, guns is like normal day life. But here in Mombasa, if you hear a gunshot, you need to tremble a bit. So I was really I was really trembling overnight. Yeah. But yeah, I don't think if the situation of overnight could have affected the voting process, because when I came here at around 5:30, people were already on the line waiting for the process to continue. But the IBC guys.
That's Jackie Maribe and Evelyn Wamboi, who have been in Changamwe to see just what the situation is like. Now, Mwakazi, Mombasa County has about 200 polling centers, and once voting is complete, they will have to tally those votes in their respective constituencies. We have 6 constituencies: Changamwe, Likoni, Nyali, we have Kisauni, and Likoni as well. So those votes will be tallied in those centers and then transmitted to the county tallying center, which is in Bandari College, and that is where we will be bringing you live updates as we receive the results. Mwakazi.
Right, many thanks, Esther Kahumbi, reporting all the way from Mombasa. Of course, there's a mixture of a somber mood, but at the same time, there's a feeling of reassurance that all will be well, even after the killing of some 6 police officers in Mombasa. Of course, so far, security has been stabilized. About 400 police officers have been deployed in the different areas affected in Mombasa, and so all should be well. The reassurance should be kept on a high note throughout the day. Of course, we keep on telling you, vote wisely, vote widely, but at the same time, vote peacefully. And we need to underline that, vote peacefully. Now, Vice President Kalonzo Musyoka, who is Raila Odinga's running mate, has joined other leaders in sending condolences to friends and family of those killed in Mombasa by suspected MRC operatives last night. Kalonzo, who voted at the Sekuru Primary School in Mwingi, urged Kenyans to vote peacefully.
Because of the long list of candidates and the very new system, I've noticed that the machine here using batteries is at least working. I'm told in a lot of other places the BVR system seems to be having problems, but I'm told also that IEBC are doing the best they can to rectify, because the taxpayers spend a lot of money to procure this equipment. So it's only fair that it's seen to work. I want to urge patience, because there are long queues, reported long queues across the country. I want to urge all the voters to remain patient and to make sure they vote, because anybody missing out on this very historic exercise will, I'm sure, feel left out of trying to change this country forever.
All right, of course, just as we've been promising you, we'll be giving you the latest that is happening across the country. We're talking about 47 counties, 33,000 polling stations in all the 290 constituencies. Right now, let's move on to Meru County, where Energy Minister Kiraitu Murungi said, of course, was actually casting his ballot. Of course, that's earlier on. That is Meru County. Of course, he has been Member of Parliament for Imenti South constituency since 1992, but right now he wants to be Senator, Meru County. All right, so from Meru, let's move on to Gashoka constituency. And let's now take a look at some clips that were taken as Joe Nyaga, Cooperative Minister, cast his vote earlier on.
Urge presidential candidates to immediately comment and disassociate themselves from this kind of activity. So I appeal for peace. And we do not want to see what happened in 2007, 2008. We want the post-election period in Kenya to be a positive one. We want Kenyans who had thought we'd have chaos to be embarrassed.
2 hours remaining and polling stations will be closing their doors. So if you're not on the line by 5 p.m., you might just count your vote as totally lost, and you don't want that to happen because that is your right at the end of it all. So right now, of course, just bringing you up to date in terms of what is happening across the country. And one thing perhaps you'd want to know about is that IEBC, of course, they'll be giving us their official reports from the National Tallying Center here in Nairobi at Bomas of Kenya. But so far, elections have been postponed in 4 county wards in Kuria East and Gwasi to March 11th, owing to mix-up of photographs and names of candidates. But of course, that report will be recapped later on. But in the meantime, let's catch up with Sylvia Chebet, who is, I understand, in a chopper overflowing Kibra. Let's get the latest from the ground. Chebet.
Northeastern frontier, where clanism is still very much the determinant of how the vote goes.
You guys get going?
But before we get there, Lillian, we're going to show you an aerial view of Kibera or Kibra constituency, where we are overflying right now. At just 9 a.m., the queues are already winding, as you can see there. We'll have more aerial shots for you as we go on to our final destination in Marsabit. We're now overflying the Mount Kenya region, and from here we can see clearly nobody is around the homesteads, a clear indication that probably the residents here have gone to the polling stations to cast their vote. From here, we're stopping over at Baragoi to see what's going on there. Remember, Baragoi is the area that has had insecurity problems for a long time, and we want to hear from the residents what they will be hoping to get from the leadership they are going to elect today.
All right, Sylvia Chebet there overflying different parts of the country. And of course, as just she put it, of course, when you look at the homesteads, they're empty because people are busy exercising their constitutional rights. Very important. And of course, the rules are clear. If you have voted, well done, but kindly keep off the polling stations so that the rest can continue on with the exercise. And remember, no campaigning. You still have about 2 hours to go, so you need to go to the particular polling station that you were registered in. Remember to carry your original documents when it comes to ID, your identity card or your passport, that which you used to register. Now, I was talking about some of the postponements in 4 county wards in Kuria East and Gwasi. Now, they've been postponed to March 13th, and there was basically a couple of glitches there in terms of the names of the candidates did not correspond with the pictures, nor the and the parties. And so that will be sorted out. And of course, the postponement comes in because that particular glitch could not be handled immediately. And at the same time, IEBC has also announced that 11 county wards have already been won unopposed. And I can perhaps list some of them. The Orange Democratic Movement, ODM, has 5 unopposed county wards. United Republican Party, URP, 5 wards, and the National Alliance, TNA Party, 2 wards. The wards are in areas believed to be the 3 parties' strongholds. So you'd want to understand that. And IEBC so far has called on Kenyans to remain calm and exercise tolerance as the voting process continues countrywide. The clarion call has been vote widely, vote wisely, and at the same time, just as somebody else, a message that has been coming in and of course moving around is that if you want to slaughter something, slaughter chicken or a goat. If you want to burn something, burn movies. And if you want, ukitaka kupiga kura, ukitaka kupiga kitu, piga kura. So at the end of it all, we want to stand as one nation because the election will come and move on, pass rather, and we will have to move on. Now, we're still waiting to get a brief from the IEBC, from the National Tallying Center. We're basically talking about 1 hour now, 50 minutes to go. So we'll be joining them later on for more official briefs. And of course, the counting, the tallying exercise will begin immediately. Most of the polling stations have closed. But right now, of course, we're coming to the end of this session and we'll be joined by our Kiswahili crew led by Kanze Dena. I believe they're set to give you the latest. Remember, we have our reporters, our correspondents in all the 33,000 polling stations. Absolutely. In all the 290 constituencies and 47 counties across the country. In fact, I'm just being told that it's just going to be a very quick and real transition. So I'd want to take this opportunity to kumkaribisha mwenzangu Kanze Dena. Karibu sana utupashe.
Kazi nzuri umefanya Mwakazi.
Asante sana.
Wacha tuendelee sasa kuanzia hapa katika lugha ya Kiswahili. Na tutaweza basi kukupasha taarifa kemkem. Kumbuka mtazamaji, tumekita kambi katika maeneo